Okay, we are recording. Hello, Montessorians. Welcome back to another session of our live coaching calls. We do this every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You can join us live by going to nitomarketing.com/coaching. And you can also watch live on Facebook. We prefer you come over into the coaching bridge, though, because then you get to interact and you get to ask questions. I'm really excited about today. Today, we're talking about the Montessori website. And we're going to talk about how important that is, but we're going to talk about it with somebody who's super special. And I'm going to embarrass the daylights out of him in just a second. But first, I want him to say hi. Dave Albano, would you mind just introducing yourself to everybody and giving us just a snapshot of your background?
Absolutely. So my name is Dave Albano. First of all, thanks so much for having me on. Awesome. I feel honored and privileged to be here. I'm delve into the marketing world. I play a lot in online marketing, and that's why Cosm asked me to be here to help critique your websites, go over why they're so important, some critical elements about them. But more importantly, I'm a dad of 13 and 15-year-old boys, and we have been homeschooling them for the last 9 years. And we took a Montessori approach. So what you guys are doing as Montessorians is really near and dear to my heart. I love the whole self-directed learning. I really believe in your missions because we've been living it as parent educators ourselves in the homeschool world. And we just migrated our boys into the regular school system because at some age, we can't supply a science lab, for example. These kinds of things. So it just made sense to do so at this level. But for the last almost decade, I've been homeschooling my boys. And as you can see, I'm just working out of the home here, living the bit of a laptop lifestyle. All I need is my laptop and an internet connection so I can work from anywhere. Lifestyle by design, I did that so I could stay home with my boys. We could travel together. Before the show went live, I was telling a little story to Awesome about how I'm a climber. And one of the peaks that I climbed is the highest peak in South America. When I did that, I took the whole family down. It took me 3 weeks to climb that mountain. I'm a high altitude climber. It was a full-on expedition. And it took me 3 weeks to climb that mountain. But I took the whole family down there. And we made it into a 6-week excursion. So while I was climbing, my wife at the time, my partner, was touring the boys all around Argentina. The whole year leading up to it, we learned about Argentina so they could appreciate it more once we got there. And then when I came down from the mountain, we reunited and we toured around other parts of Argentina that they hadn't seen before and that I hadn't seen. And we made it a whole life excursion event that they'll never forget. So it was kind of cool. And that's how we integrate the lifestyle, the work-life balance with my hobbies and passions and with our boys.
That's awesome, Dave. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I'm gonna try to make you turn red here in just a moment.
You usually do a good job of it. So
yeah. Well, and there's intention behind it. I want our members to know how valuable the advice that we're about to receive is. Dave's not just anybody. Dave's a really big deal. So context. I've been a member of a community called the Digital Marketer Certified Partners for almost 5 years now. And I believe it to be a consolidation of some of the best marketers on the planet. You have to pay a lot of money to get in. You have to do a lot of training to get in. You have to be a certain level, a certain pedigree. And when I joined, that's actually how I met Dave. Dave was also a certified partner, but it's unfair to say a certified partner. Dave is kind of the certified partner. So in a world where we're all running around trying to figure out the marketing thing, Dave is, I think, by far and wide, and I don't know that there's a close second, Dave is the premier partner inside of this community, inside of this group. I've seen him on an ongoing basis giving just epic amounts of value. Anybody who has a problem, issue, they always reach out to Dave, and Dave is the one that everybody kind of leans on. So he's the paragon of excellence, and he's like a really big deal. So if you Google his name, you're going to see him up next to some folks that you might recognize. And I see you, Dave, just like flying all over the world, doing workshops and trainings. And I know you've got those like really awesome 2-day intensives. So this isn't just like a guy I found on Craigslist to come talk to us about website. This is one of the foremost authorities on digital marketing, I think, on the planet. And we're just super lucky to have you, Dave. I appreciate you being here. Forgive me for fanboying for just a little bit. And
thank you so much for that amazing intro and the accolades. I don't know if I deserve them, but greatly appreciate it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, well, you're a rock star. We're happy to have you. And it looks like we're getting more attendees. So, y'all, if you have any questions for us, please feel free to drop them into the chat panel. We'd love to hear it. What I want to talk about now is let's just dive right into it. I'm going to pose a problem to you. We have near 1,000 member schools now, which is a really big deal for us. I think there's 12,000 total Montessori schools in the world, and I don't even know because the world of authentic Montessori is kind of muddled, so I don't know how many that actually applies, but it's a small group. And the website traditionally has been treated like just a digital brochure. Like, okay, you've got, my contact information and some of our program information, and now we really want parents to come in. And it has been a struggle from a marketing perspective in some instances to get people to even, invest in their website. And then once we hurdle that mental block, then the question is like, well, what do we do and how do we do it? And what are the steps that we take? And so I like to position the website as maybe the single most important tangible single asset that we have. But what I'd like to talk to you about today, and maybe with our members, even do a couple of examples, is how you view the website from a paradigm standpoint, how you approach a website build, how you approach, things like, maintenance, ongoing adjustments, how you make tweaks, how you make optimizations, et cetera. Like give me Dave Albano's sort of the website 101, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, you hit the nail on the head where the website is not just a digital brochure, which a lot of people consider it to be. They know in this digital age that they have to have an online presence, so they slap something up there, but it's so much more than that. Typically, it's your first impression, and as we know, we only have one chance to make a good first impression. So it's your first impression that people typically see of you, unless you're at a trade show or touting your wares elsewhere. But if parents are choosing a school and they're trying to shop around the best Montessori place for their children, which is the gift of their loins, literally, right? They're going to go over they're just rabid, fanatical buyers of products for their children because they're so important to their lives, right? So they are going to do everything they possibly can to get the best possible education and Montessori school that they can. So what do? They turn online and they look at all the websites to compare. So it is literally their first impression. It is your brand initiative. Branding is huge, right? Along those lines of first impressions. And because it's so much more than a digital brochure, it is more than just your online presence. It can act as a lead generator and a business driver for you. Yes, you are educators, you are Montessorians, but you are also running a business. You're running a school. Much like the big Ivy League schools, the competition that there is to get enrollment up in the traditional school system, right? You guys are running a business, and you have to utilize or view and position your website as the front end of your business, because that's the first thing that people see. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I can tell you that there's something about that language that has repelled Montessorians in the past. They don't like viewing schools as a business, and hopefully my members will chime in and let me know if I'm overstepping my bounds here, because I don't own a Montessori school. And I understand why. They're empaths. Like, these are people that they want to help children. And the conduit through which they do that ends up being a business, but that's not how they've ever viewed it. It's more like a life. And so what we need to do is come in here and offer that reminder. Hey, in order for the good to happen, we have to, apply this shell that is a business and realize that the website is a valuable facet of that business. I think the website should be your hardest working employee.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we look at it that way, it's, entirely different.
That's the other thing, our hardest working employee that never sleeps.
Right.
Yet you can still generate and bring in those leads, bring in those students, increase your enrollment, where you can make the most impact by getting those kids to your school, because you know that you are best able to serve them if you truly believe in what you do in your mission, right? So I do want you to, consider your schools, yes, as a business, because you have revenues, you have expenses. That's what businesses are, right? That may not be a popular opinion, but I'm a realist, I'm a pragmatist, and that's what you're doing. You are providing an incredibly valuable service as educators, but it's still through the capitalistic society and model that we all coexist in, right? So you do have revenues and expenses. That is your business reality of running the school. So we can't ignore that. I don't want to sugarcoat that. I work personally with a lot of high-end businesses, do very well for them, But it's all through the lens of adding value to the world. And that plays exactly to what you guys do here as Montessorians, right? You are like molding these little minds into the future leaders of our planet. I do not underestimate the value of what you guys provide. It's incredible. I do the same thing through the other businesses that I work with. Is my tagline of my own business, Joe's Marketing, because I have a marketing agency, is building businesses that make a difference in the world. And that's what you guys are doing, right? I help other businesses grow their business as long as they're providing tangible value through their products or services. And your product is education. And it all starts with that first impression that people get through your website. And that's why it's so important. And when people are comparing your school against another one, you have to have enough value through your website that they are intrigued enough to reach out and contact you, maybe book a tour, find more information about you, engage with you in some way, shape, or form. And that's another key engagement later on as we progress. And I know this is pretty casual and just kind of interview style, just kind of wrapping here a little bit, but engagement is a key component of your website. And I'd like to explore that a little more in this conversation, if that's okay with you.
Well, let's do that actually, because I've got a soundbite for you, a little pre-prepared. I can tell you that our schools want to build relationships with parents and prospects.
What it's all about.
Yeah, and we have a term, and I don't know that every school uses it, but the gentleman who founded Needle Marketing, his name is Matt Hillis, and he uses the term mission appropriate. He wants to find families that are mission appropriate, and which really just means that there's a fit there. They're the right customer for us. Yeah. The problem is oftentimes the paradigm that schools assume is that we start the relationship building when they come into the school. And so what I wanted to talk to you about is how do we start relationship building on the website, because that's really where it starts. And I think that's what you're saying about engagement. So let's dive into that, Dave, and let's get as tactical as we can, assuming that the majority of our members are going to have to do this themselves because there's not the money there. Yeah. So how do they build the website, catalyze engagement on the cheap, without having all the bells and whistles that you and I might have available to us with some large organizations? Yeah.
One of the easiest ways you can engage with people is through content. And taken a look at some like school websites and whatnot, and one of the biggest pieces that they're missing is a blog. Now, are you guys passionate about running your Montessori schools? Are your brains filled with knowledge that you haven't digitally downloaded onto your websites yet? It's easy for you to do, to put up blog articles about what is Montessori all about, why choose Montessori over traditional schools, what makes your school different, all these different articles that tout the benefits of Montessori. That drives engagement. And if you have a blog portion to your website, what that does is increase your rankings in the eyes of the Googles, right? All the search engines. It allows you to engage because on a typical blog article in a proper blog format, people can leave comments. That's a form of engagement, right? Whatever medium you choose. And in terms of engagement, you can choose any medium that you're comfortable with. Maybe it's video like we're doing right now. Cosm is awesome on video. I'm pretty good on video. We like to engage people that way. Right? When you type questions in the comments, you're engaging. If you go on a YouTube channel, you could literally have a YouTube channel for your school, and people will engage on the YouTube channel through comments, through likes, through shares. Same thing on social media. Your social media presence should be integrated with your website. You can engage that way. There are so many ways of podcasts. That's another example. Maybe if you're not comfortable on video, you're comfortable on audio. You can create a podcast for your school and have podcast episodes. And people engage through that, through downloading the podcast episode, through commenting on them, through sharing them, all these things. So there's many various, hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming, but my point is there's a lot of ways to create engagement through your website and online presence.
Well, I think the number of options out there are overwhelming. And what I would like to say to our members is you don't have to do all of them. As a matter of fact, yes, I was just going to say that, Dave, you're my spirit animal. Yeah, choose one that you really can sink your teeth into. If you go, gosh, I hate writing, shoot the videos. And if you don't want to be on the video, then do the podcast thing. But pick one and then just own it. Yeah. And parents will meet you on your terms. I promise that, because they're so interested in what you have to say.
Yeah.
And Montessori parents, Dave, just so you know, context for you, and I'm not slandering our environment because I respect this and I'm a Montessori parent, but these are very A-type individuals. They're going to read everything that you write and they're going to, you know, listen to everything that you put out there. And so what you're saying here, I think, is of immense value because they want to be educated. As a matter of fact, a lot of them they have so much miseducation already coming to the school because they've read, you know, who knows whose blog about what Montessori is and isn't, and you know, why it might not be good. Or, I mean, some people walk into a Montessori school thinking that it's a cult because anybody who talks about it is so fanatic. So
I'm passionate about it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to share something just real briefly, Dave. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know that all our members know this, but we write content on behalf of our members. So if you are
beautiful,
if you're a second plane member or above, we're going to write one social post for you for every single school day. And this is available to you to post on Facebook, download and post, modify, make it your own, own it. If you're a third plane member or above, we write one blog for you for every week. And these are all Montessori specific blogs and the topics are amazing. You know, here's Montessori Basics Cosmic Work. This is a really good article. It's written by trained Montessorian, and these articles are robust. So if what Dave just said resonates with you, take a look at some of the content that we have available. We write the blogs, we write the email newsletters, we write the social posts. And then we're not asking you to templatize anything because there's no such thing as a template in Montessori school. Take the content we're providing. We're just doing the heavy lifting, but then you get to go in there and customize your mission, vision, values. As a matter of fact, one of our members who's on this call right now, Heidi, she's a professional writer herself. And she does an amazing job at taking our blogs and then making them her own and customizing them for her school. So if what Dave is saying about engagement resonates, take a look at some of the content we have available because, you know, the heavy lifting has been done.
And I can't, that's awesome that you provide your members that service, Cosm. I didn't even realize that. So I think that's a perfect segue into that. So please, guys, if you can take advantage of Cosm's services to provide that content and do all the heavy lifting for you. He's already got the done for you articles. Amazing. And what that will do is it'll set you out from the rest because most Montessori schools, correct me if I'm wrong, probably don't have a blog. Do your own mental self checklist. Do I have a blog on my, or content that people can engage with on my website? And if you don't, get some. Either do yourself if you're doing it on the cheap, that's fine, or hire Cosm or get the proper level of membership so he can do it for you in your social media posts so you get that engagement. And what that will do, it will not just set yourself above the rest because these fanatical parents are so passionate that they will just soak up everything you put out there for them, but then you become the trusted authority for doing so, for providing the content. That's number one. So you get to quite easily differentiate yourself from the competition, become a thought leader in the space, become the trusted advisor in Montessori schools in your area, right? That's number one. And number two,
oh, Dave, I think we lost you. To our panelists, can everybody see or hear me, or did y'all lose me? Okay, Vicky says we can still see me. I think we lost Dave, which was sad because I think number 2 is going to be really good. I'm going to see if he doesn't chime back in. In the meantime, I was going to bring up another thing, but I'll go ahead and accelerate that. We have a video solution also available on our third plane. It's pre-recorded videos specifically for Montessori schools that allow you to share kind of FAQ style videos with parents. So if somebody says, you know, hey, why are these broken up into 3-year cycles, or, you know, wants to know about Montessori math, we have a trained Montessorian. Her name's Donna DeHustelaere. She owns a school out here in Phoenix, actually, and she recorded. We have 55 videos so far. And so if you're a third or fourth plane member, you have the option of adding a video library to your site, and it has all of these amazing videos for you. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out to us. We're excited to roll that out. And I'm gonna, sorry y'all, I'm just trying to see if I can't get Dave back. The other thing that I'll share, just while I'm buying time and floundering a little bit, is our website packages. So not that this is meant to be a sales call, but I'll seize the opportunity. We rolled out website packages recently, so available to all of our second, third, and fourth plane members. We have 6 website themes. So if you don't have a website, we can build you a website. If you don't like your website, we can take your existing website content and migrate it over into one of our themes. All of our websites are built according to our own best practices. So if you've seen our 16 things that every Montessori school should have on their website, these websites are meant to comply with that. So here's an example. And this is theme number 1. You'll notice that we have really strong calls to action, a lot of engagement, social proof, pre-written content from program perspective. So, you don't have to come up with all the content yourself. We wrote a lot of it for you, but you can customize it to your heart's content. Specific calls to actions that you would probably recognize, and all best practice compliant. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out and let me know. And I think, Teresa has a question. When people receive your articles and make them their own, do they then post it on their blog and say it's written by them? Yes. So that's part of our licensing agreement. When you partner with Nido Marketing, you get to take our content and white label it, so to speak. So put your name on it, by your school or your director of admissions or whoever you want to make your primary point of contact. Hey. And Dave's back. Hey, we lost you right at number 2, and I felt like it was going to be really exciting.
Sorry about that, guys. Don't know what I...
No problem. Oh, no. I'm blaming this on Canadian internet. That was a joke. All right, I'm just chatting Dave real quick. Any other questions for me while we're waiting on Dave? Can you recommend some Montessori websites you like? Yes, I think my favorite, to be honest with you, Heidi, I really liked, what was the one you shared with me? Was that Forest Bluff? Did I make that up? I love the Fort Collins. Yes, thank you so much. Hello, sir.
We're going to try this one more time.
Yep, I think 3rd time's the charm.
All right, let's hope so. So sorry, guys. Don't know what's going on my end. Looks like I got 2 instances going, though.
I'm going to try to remove the first one, but it scares me that I might, if I kick you out, just come back and we'll sign you up.
All right, sounds good. Try to remove the first one, the one without any video.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I might be able to leave it. No, I can't leave it on my.
Remove. It's not doing anything. I think we live with it.
All right.
And Vicky had a real quick question. Can you get back to what you just said about giving or not giving credit? Okay, so Dave, while you made a departure, I did my best to try to roll with the punches, and was talking about our content from a licensing agreement standpoint. Our content becomes your front-facing content, and so as long as you're a member of ours, you get to white label our content to your heart's content. So if you take one of our blogs, you can use it. And Heidi, who's on this call, has actually done a really phenomenal job at this. She's turned them into brochures and postcards. And I think they just had an open house that she had this really awesome asset built through our graphic design services. So you can take our content and basically, chop it up, dice it up, do whatever you want with it, put your name on it, and treat it just like it's your content. It's nothing that you have to credit us for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is great. Sorry, Dave, going back to you. You mentioned number 2.
2 things. All right. So the second thing I was going to mention is when you have all this awesome content, the first thing was helps you become a thought leader, the trusted authority. The second thing, it actually improves your rankings in the search engines. And I made passing reference to that earlier. Right? Can you still everyone hear me? Still, I'm still good connection?
Yep, we've got you.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So if you think of a typical search term that a parent types in, what are they going to typically type in? I'm guessing Montessori schools near me, Montessori schools in Denver, Montessori schools in San Diego, Montessori schools in insert your location here, right?
Sure.
That's where they're typing in, literally. So when you have more content on your site and more links to that content, more interlinking in between your site. Interlinking just means internally within your site, you can link from one page. On one page, you have a hyperlink. When you click it, it links to another page in your site. That's called interlinking or internal linking. External linking is links from outside your site, other websites linking back to yours. And the more you have of that, the better. And the best way to do that is with more content or more pages on your site to link to, which is fantastic, right? So when you are able to do that, you are better able to be found by your target market, by the exact people you are who are searching out for your services. So not only do you provide value to your marketplace, increase your visibility as a thought leader, trusted advisor, something that the competition doesn't have most likely, but it actually increases your chances of being found by your target market. It's win-win-win.
Absolutely. Well, and I love what you're saying about establishing yourself as an authority, because I think far too often people approach, and people do this to us, Dave, as marketers. People approach Montessori schools as though they are service providers.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go to a doctor and start vetting their diagnostician. You know what I mean? Like
their credentials. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like challenging their decisions. And I mean, you obviously want to do your research, but I think that Montessorians need to rise above service provider and assume the role of authority. And I think content is a really good way to do it. Teresa had a quick question on a previous topic, which I want to touch on real quick. If we're no longer members, do we need to remove the old content? No, ma'am. So any content you've already created and used, you're free to use. What we do ask, though, is a courtesy, and we're not litigious. We would never cause an issue, but you know, for obvious reasons, we would ask that you stop creating content with anything that we provided moving forward. So whatever is on your site can live on your site, but if you're using some of our content in perpetuity, we ask that you maintain your membership. And Heidi's asking, oh, sorry.
Can I take Heidi's question?
Yeah, please, Dave.
Okay, so Heidi is asking, is competition in your mind other local Montessori schools or daycare or traditional preschools? Two-part answer to that question. Number one, I think your main competition is other Montessori schools, because people who are already looking to enroll their kids in Montessori schools, they've already investigated what Montessori is all about. So now they just have to choose a service provider, you guys, right? So your main competition is other Montessori schools. In the second part to the answer is your indirect competition is the traditional school system. And that's where your rise as a thought leader into providing the content, like we just explained, can really set you apart. Because as part of that thought leadership, you can host open houses or seminars, workshops at educational trade shows, these kinds of things, to educate those who are not familiar with Montessori, teach them the benefits over it, turn them over to the good side of the force, if you will, instead of the dark side. And that is your area of opportunity. So your indirect competitors is the traditional school system, because they haven't seen the light yet.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of alternatives, Dave. We run Google Ads for a lot of our schools, and so we get to see search terms. And I can tell you one of the competitive alternatives that I never would have guessed at, but it's nanny. People searching for a nanny, because, you know, here's somebody who's at least affluent enough to afford a nanny, who probably might benefit from, you know, an alternative education system. Homeschoolers, actually, if you really think about it, I'm not taking a shot at you, but there's you know, it's a paradigm split. And so if somebody's considering strongly homeschooling, there might be a reason why. Hey, I don't want my child in a traditional education environment. And then Montessori has the opportunity to sort of establish a foothold there.
Exactly.
So let's say we're engaging people on our site. What do you do there? I'm coming back to the site day by day. I'm reading the blogs. Where do we go?
Okay, so the beautiful thing about content, you become a thought leader, you can differentiate yourself from the competition. But in terms of engagement, I really want you guys to focus on what are called lead magnets in the marketing industry. If you're part of Awesome's community, then you're probably familiar with that concept. Are they Awesome? I'm assuming.
Well, I don't know. We do a really bad job, to be honest with you, self-advocating. I will say that we have pre-prepared lead magnets, and I'm going to share them briefly because I think that will help. When Dave starts to explain, it'll help kind of put context to it. But if you're in the resources section and you go to the white papers, we have, I think, near 20 downloadable lead magnets. Here's 6 reasons Montessori will work for your child, just as an example. And it doesn't have to be a white paper. We have some templates. We have a checklist for finding a Montessori school, a goal-setting worksheet,
Perfect.
etc. So
Love it.
with those in mind, Dave, take it away. Sorry to interrupt you.
Got it. So let's back up one step just for those who don't know. A lead magnet is basically a piece of digital content that provides high value, but it's gated content in that it's set behind a form where you have to enter your contact information. So it's basically, it's kind of like think of it like an ethical bribe almost, right? You're giving them free value, but in order to get that value, they have to enter their contact information, typically their name and email address, in order to get that free content, right? But it's a higher level of content than something that you might find just on a simple blog article, which is ungated. You don't have to enter a form to access a blog article, for example. That's why it's ungated. But the gate in this case is the contact information they have to enter into a form to get on the other side of that gate to get to that content. We call it a lead magnet because it literally draws in leads into your schools or potential clients or potential students, like a magnet does to iron filings. That's why we call it a lead magnet.
Out of curiosity, Dave, your lead magnet formed, do you go sparse name, email, or are you one of the fellas that expands on that? What's your
I do name email. I do sparse because something you may not know about me, Awesome, is that I actually have my degree in social psychology. And I did
know that.
Yeah, most people don't. And that's where I'm a bad advocate for myself. I don't put that out there too often unless that's on a live webinar like this or live training. But I did my degree in social psychology and I did my honors thesis in goal setting and motivational theory because I love to know what makes people tick. And that's all marketing is. Now, the reason I bring that up and why I go sparse on the contact form to get in the front of the lead magnet is because there's a psychological principle of consistency. And that principle dictates that when we enter, if we're interested in a piece of content or a lead magnet enough, that we will enter our name and email into a form to get what's on the other side. Then on the thank you page, after you enter your contact information, then you are at the liberty to ask for more, right? In terms of more content, maybe there or more contact information, but you want to add more value in return for that contact information. Maybe you get a phone number so you can pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, would you like a tour of our school? Those kinds of things. And the principle of consistency, if we do a small action here on the front end, we are more likely to do a larger action on the back end to be consistent with our previous action. Because we said we wanted this thing. I gave them a little bit of contact information. Well, I want to be consistent with my mindset, so I'll give them more. That's why we do that.
That's brilliant. So let's say that we have a lead magnet up on the site.
Yep.
It's successful. Somebody's filling out our form. We're capturing the contact information. What do you do with it? I mean, it jumps into MailChimp and it just sits there and it rots and it dies, right?
Yeah,
like we never.
That's what a lot of people do. Yes. So what you do with it, and this goes back to your engagement and the original impetus for this discussion that we're having. You want to engage with them, of course. You have their contact information. They gave it freely to get the content they wanted. So if it's email and that's all they give you, well, then you should have what's called, I don't want to get too technical here, but it's called an autoresponder. An autoresponder, kind of like the name implies, it automatically responds via email to the email they just gave you. And it's your messaging. It's what you want to put forward in their inbox to welcome them to your community of schools or your Montessori environment that you've created, right? Welcome them, tell them what you're all about, follow up with them. There's even in the marketing world or in business world, people are reluctant to send a lot of emails to their leads because they think they might offend them or they're being too pushy or like a used car salesman type. What you're doing, I want you to think of terms of adding value. When you're reaching out to your prospects who have just become a lead and they discovered you, that is the best time to reach out to them because they're like a hot lead. They just said they wanted this thing. That's the exact best time to engage with them, right?
Absolutely.
And when you do that and provide even more value than they're expecting, what are you going to earn?
Trust.
Trust. You're going to earn their trust. And who do we do business with? Who do we care about? Who do we send which Montessorians do we trust enough to send our kids in their care on a daily basis? That's what you're doing when you're engaging. You are building trust. How do you build trust? add more value than they were expecting in exchange for what they're receiving, right? You want to, and any business exchange should be this, or any value proposition should be this. You want to add more value to your customers or to your parents that you're providing education to, their children, than you are taking in yourself. That is how you build trust. That is how you build rabid fans of your schools. That is how you get automatic referrals because they will shout you from the rooftops because they love you so much. And all of that can be automated through email as just one mechanism.
Can I show you another asset that we have, Dave?
Please do.
Anybody on this call, I like to reward people that show up to our live calls. So if you're on this call, I will give you this. You just have to email me.
Oh, look at that. Email nurture template. Love it.
We have 7 emails pre-written. If somebody downloads your lead magnet, you can drop them into our email nurture template and customize the emails. Some of our members on this call already have it, and I'm pretty sure they love it. If you're not a second play member or above, you won't have access to this. But again, email me. I'll drop my email into the chat, and I will send this to you just as a thank you for being here, because I really appreciate it. Y'all add a lot of value. Dave, I think you do this professionally, right? You've got an intensive where you help people define basically the what would I call it? The journey.
Their roadmap or their journey, their online presence strategy, all of that. Yes. Thanks for bringing that up. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I do 2-day intensives. My clients will fly me in from around the world, wherever they are. I'm up in Canada, so I'll happy to travel to them. That's why you see me travel so often. and I love doing it. I love engaging with people. Obviously, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a people person. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands, so I like to have a lot of fun along the way. But I'll do these 2-day intensives for my clients where I walk them through their entire digital marketing strategy to grow their businesses, grow their schools, grow their enrollment through their lead magnets, through their online presence. How can we gain more awareness and engagement out there to bring people in, build that know, like, and trust all on autopilot? And that's the magic of the online world, is that back to the website presence, that is your best employee, because you don't have to pay them and they work 24/7. And that's what I help my clients do, is execute on all of that and map out the entire strategy that people should be applying.
That's great. That sounds really valuable. We're going to share more about how to work with Dave at the end of this call incidentally, so stick around, and I'll make sure to have all of his contact information inside of the description of the call. Heidi's offered a challenge. I love this, by the way. So to all of our listeners, if you don't agree with what we're saying, come right out at it, because I think that it's going to do nothing but help contribute to the conversation. So Dave, if you don't mind, I'll let you take this question.
Can I say this nicely? I avoid forms precisely because I know my inbox is going to be flooded with auto-generated messages. Good point, Heidi. I get the idea of adding value, but I can't think of any auto emails I've been glad to receive. I think I'd rather offer a lot of free content as a way of building trust. Okay, I would encourage you to do both. And there are ways so you can add the content like we talked earlier in the discussion, but by providing gated content, the people who will take you up on that want to hear from you. And that's the difference. They are voluntarily giving you their email and their contact information for the piece of content, the valuable content that you're providing. And that could be in the form of your tuition prices, which is a fantastic lead magnet, if you will, because that is one of the most important things that they are wanting to know before they choose your school. And if they follow up on that, they are a viable lead for your school. You can follow up with them. They voluntarily gave you that content, so they want to hear from you. So I would eliminate that objection, if you will, by virtue of their voluntarily giving you the contact information. They want to hear from you. And the best time to follow up with them is as soon as they opt in to receive that content, if that makes sense. So did that answer your question, Heidi?
She came back. She said, right. But they want X, and they know they're going to get X, plus a lot of other stuff they didn't ask for.
Okay, fantastic. So in your messaging to them, you can say, number one, guys, you know what? I realize we all lead busy lifestyles and your inbox may be flooded. If you don't want to hear about, I'm happy to send you all this valuable information. First of all, you lead with, I'm going to be providing value. And there's a whole, and I bet you do this in your email nurture sequence anyway, Qasim, that you provide to your folks here, your member base. that it's value in advance. Who doesn't want more value than they're expecting? So that's how you can set yourself apart, number one. If they don't want to receive that value, Heidi, then you can say, hey, if you don't want to receive this, you guys can opt out at this at any time. And every single email autoresponder or CRM on the planet has the ability to do so. They not just has the ability, they must have the ability by law because of the spam acts out there. So hopefully that answers your question. People have the ability to opt out. You provide more value than they're expecting. You over-deliver, build trust. What's not to like?
Yeah, and I like the over-deliver, Dave. I think if somebody asks for something, so to Heidi's point, if they ask for X and they get X and then they get something more, but it's not a sales pitch, it's actually much more. You know, hey,
true value. This isn't like
right.
big switch stuff, guys. This is true, authentic value where you able to, you know, provide for your member base and your prospects and leads.
You know, one of my favorite value adds is a video. So if you download my lead magnet, the 6 Reasons Montessori Work for Your School, I like adding a video that walks through those items. It's
Absolutely.
Small, it's easy to engage with, but it lets people know that, you know, hey, there's more guidance here.
Totally. And because you said video, I just want to touch on that just for a second, because video, back to the content valuation piece that we talked about earlier, and this is my psychology background coming through, video is the highest online form of engagement. We're doing video right now because 80% of communication comes through nonverbal cues. Again, I'm talking with my hands. I can understand, like Qasim is smiling right now at my verbosity or what I just said, right? He's nodding. So I can see understanding instantly through video. So when you put video content on your website, guys, that people can engage in, you know what they do? They come to know you better. And again, who do we do business with? Who do we send our kids to schools with? People whom we know, like, and trust. And that is built exponentially better and quicker. The rapport is built quicker through video. The next lesser medium is audio only, because you can hear a lot of inflections in communication just through my tonality, the softness of my voice, how excited I get. All these things are delivered through audio. But at the highest medium, well, actually even higher than that, is in person. You can't, because then you get almost like an energy transference between people, right? And then, but in the online version, it's video, especially live, like we're doing now. Then recorded video, which you can easily populate your website with. You can do, instead of a blog with articles, you can do a video blog or vlog, it's called, to build that higher touch presence with your prospects and leads as they come in. So they get to know you, they get to feel like they already know you before they even meet you when they come in for a tour of your school. And then the next level below that is the written word. So video, audio, written text. Those are the 3 levels of media. The nice thing about video is that you can strip out, through the wonders of technology, we can strip out the audio because I'm familiar with the Zoom platform that we're working on right now. When Qasim goes to save this recording, it will record all the video. It will record and strip out automatically the audio, so he has an audio file that he can use as his leisure for whatever he wants. And then there's transcription services out there that can transcribe the audio into text. So by shooting one video, you get all 3 mechanisms, which is what I love it for in the online world.
That's brilliant, Dave. I love that repurposing. We've got a couple of comments here. Heidi came back and said, I love the idea of using the 60-second Montessori moment videos as auto content. Adds value, very, very easy for people. Thank you, Heidi. Appreciate that. And then Teresa has a question. When do you find it's best to provide the tuition information directly on the website versus an online request? I don't ever want to provide too much information because I want them to call me and come for a visit. And Teresa, we actually agree our most valuable lead magnet is the tuition rates. And this comes directly from Matt. He gated his tuition in the very beginning. We get a ton of pushback on this. And Dave, this is really good context for you. Some schools put their tuition right on the site. The founder of Nido started gating his tuition, and we found that not only does it act as the most engaging lead magnet, but it also tends to produce the highest value prospects. But schools feel that they are withholding information that, you know, they should put out there publicly. So feel free to toy with that if you don't mind, and disagree with me if you do. I'd be really interested in your opinions there.
No, I totally agree. I think it's the number one best thing you can do on your website. If you think of your own websites right now, guys, number one, have a lead magnet. And the best lead magnet you can do is your tuition pricing, because that's what your prospects or leads want to know. If they're prospects when you don't have their contact information. If they're on your site, they are evaluating you against your other Montessori schools or other competition. So if they're truly evaluating you, they want to find out as much as possible for the benefit of their children. Don't forget, they're passionate about this because their kids are involved. You know, you can't get any more passionate about a mother's love for their child, right? Or a father's love for their child. They are going to want to press that button to get the tuition information so they can compare it and make an informed decision with their competition, who may be displaying their tuition information freely on their site. They will press, yes, I want this, and they will gladly give you your email for it. When they do, they become, you may, from a volume play, you might not get as many calls coming in for tours potentially, but you're going to get more highly qualified prospects who do. And that's the key. You're going to get leads. You're going to get higher quality leads, all on autopilot. And back to the website, which is the whole purpose of this call, is most schools, even most businesses out there, most websites in general, they don't have proper lead magnets. And if they do, they're buried somewhere in the website. Put it right on front of the homepage above the fold. The above the fold is a website marketing term where it's the part of the website when you land on the homepage. It's everything that you can see before you start scrolling down. That is above the fold. And it comes from, if you imagine a laptop that folds like this, right? And the screen is here. It's before the fold of the crease of the laptop. That's why it's called above the fold. Think of a piece of paper folding. So put your lead magnet, your strong calls to action, above the fold directly on your homepage. And that's the number one most important thing. If I leave you or you take away anything at all from this call, do that. Get a strong lead magnet. I recommend tuition pricing. Put it above the fold on your homepage. Those three things.
That's great context. Teresa, let us know if that answered your question. Dave, do you want to do some rapid fire hot seats with some of the websites we looked at?
I would love to. Or I think the most value I can add, is there anyone on the call right now willing to share their website? And I will critique it on the spot. Happy to do that. I would love to do live websites. I think that is the best value I could add. We have some more generic websites queued up if no one's willing to come forth, but I encourage, but that's schools that you guys don't know, can't relate to. Or maybe you can relate to them, but you're going to add much more value to you if we do your own websites. And we see some coming in right now.
We've got two. That's awesome. Two brave souls.
All right, let's go with Heidi then. Can you share your screen and actually, do I have control here?
You should. Let me know if you don't.
I can't. Oh, hold on. It's coming up now. I could click on that. There it is. Let me queue both of them up. And thanks for volunteering, guys. That means a lot. I know it takes a lot of courage to step forth there. Okay, so Heidi is Crystal Lake, it looks like. Let me just do a quick screen share. There we go. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Got it.
Beautiful. Okay, so Heidi, this is yours. First impressions, right? It's not bad at all. I like the layout, the imagery, the colors, all that kind of stuff matters, right? We do a quick scroll down. You got a quote right here from Dr. Maria Montessori herself, of course. You got your different programs. Okay, that's good. You got some video, which is fantastic. Volunteering, okay, request information. This is a call to action, contact, right? Where is it on the website? It's right at the bottom. I love the fact that you got imagery here. I'm assuming that's of yourself or one of your staff. That's fantastic. I encourage you all to have all your staff profiles on there. You got where you are. That's fantastic because people want to know where you are, of course, but your call to action contact is at the bottom of the page. What if you scroll up? You got schedule a tour, so that's good. You got virtual tour, why Montessori, donate, which is a form of call to action. right? And schedule a tour is probably your biggest call to action. That's what you want, number one. So that's pretty good because it's right up front. What I would do here, because all these buttons look the same, you want your call to action button, the next step that you want them to take, you want to highlight that. You want it to stand out, because this button blends in with the other three here, and it also blends in with your top bar here. Your font of Education for Life is the same color blue, right? You got your schedule tour here. That's good. I would change your schedule tour here and this button here into maybe like a bright orange maybe, or a highlighter yellow kind of color, so it pops and it stands out, right? That's what you want call to action buttons to do. You want them to stand out so they don't blend in and the eye is naturally drawn to it. So kudos for you for number one, having it up front above the fold. Again, above the fold is everything before I start scrolling down. This is the fold line right here at the bottom of the page. Let's see what happens when I click that call to action button to schedule a tour. All right, this is what I thought might happen. Come visit us, schedule a tour. You go here, and is this, what kind of tour scheduling software do you use here? Or is this just a regular contact?
I think this is just a regular contact form. It's
yeah,
not.
Yeah, it looks like that. So Heidi, I'm assuming they fill this out. You ask for your email, you ask for your phone number, right? And then you follow up and contact them. A better way to do that would be, there's online scheduling platforms where they can automatically pick and choose dates and times that you allow, that you pre-configure. You open up time slots, and it's all automated. So there's not even any follow-up for you to do here, right? Because there's gonna be some latency by the time you have a chance to follow up. Maybe they're scheduling this or filling out this form like at midnight or something, and you don't see it till the next morning. But when they can schedule something right in your calendaring system that you set up, boom, it pops up automatically and you know when to expect them.
And Heidi's saying that they used to use Calendly, but the admin wanted it to generate an email to go to the director of admissions directly. So Heidi, when they fill out this form, is the thank you page Calendly? Remind me. And forgive me for not remembering. Oh no. Okay. So this is just a form. So they went from Calendly to the form.
Got it. So I would encourage you to do both. You can still do this, but after they submit this, then instead of, well, yeah, you can leave it as is, but then once they submit this, then it can go to Calendly. I would encourage you to use both, because it's not a bad idea to get their contact information or their lead, get them as a lead up front before they even schedule. This way you get their contact information to follow up. Vicky's asking, what online scheduling platform do you recommend? Calendly is perfectly fine. I like Schedule Once myself, because Schedule Once, after, it's the only platform out there that I know of, unless some others have changed, it's the only one out there that allows you, and this is an important takeaway, guys, this is my marketing hat on. After you book an appointment in Schedule Once, it's the only online scheduling tool that allows you to take them to a custom landing page. That means when they book an appointment, you get to redirect them to wherever you want. And typically that should be a thank you page. It could be a landing page with a thank you welcome video from you, for example. Welcoming them, thanking them for scheduling a tour. Here's your next steps, put the date on your calendar, all these things, right? All other calendaring systems just have their internal thank you pages that they allow you to go to. Schedule Once is my preferred one for that reason. And I have no affiliation with them, by the way. That's just my preference. Heidi says, I've been thinking we have too much content and might need to pare back to essentials. No, I don't agree, Heidi. We just said the more content you have, the better. It allows you to have a deep, rich site, which allows you to become the trusted authority and, again, increase your chances of rising in search rankings, as discussed earlier. I want to be conscious of everyone's time, though. Let's go through this a little quick. I'm just going to take you back to the home page. I like the virtual tour, schedule tour. So again, I would highlight these buttons. I would also include on here, I would encourage you to put another button here. You got other room for real estate here. Put another one, another call to action saying, download our tuition rates. Make that a priority and make that another call to action. You can sprinkle these calls to action throughout your website especially the more lead magnets you have, you can sprinkle them throughout the website, right? Put your most important ones on the homepage, of course, above the fold, like we just said. And if you do that, then this contact is fine as it is. You do have a blog. Awesome. Let's go into that for a second, because I want to share with you something. I'm going to do a quick crash course in Content Marketing 101. And this is very text heavy. So I would encourage you to break up the text, because it's a little assaulting on the eyes, to be honest with you, Heidi, right? It's overwhelming. And when something is overwhelming, people get doubt in their minds, whether they want to read it or not. And the doubting mind always says no, as a psychological principle, right? So this is a little overwhelming. How you can break this up: a lot of white space, you can make some bullet points in here. You can separate out some of your quotes here into quote blocks, add in more imagery like you've done here, which is great. I would probably close up or make that image a little smaller and drop some more in there, right? Those are some initial contents. And you know what I don't see?
These are pulling from Facebook.
I'm sorry?
Heidi just mentioned that some of these posts are pulling from Facebook. It looks like.
Got it. Okay, fair enough. And then what I would do, though, the biggest thing, and this is your Crash Course 101, there in the marketing world, not to throw some lingo at you, but I'm going to, it's called a Johnson box. A Johnson box is simply, it's named after this famous marketer who invented this concept named Johnson. And all it is, it's a box or a call to action within your content, which directs them to a lead magnet. So imagine if let's say in between this paragraph and this paragraph, do you see the highlighting when I do that, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So in between these two paragraphs, imagine if we opened up the white space and we put a box, like a call out, a colored box with some text in it. It has a headline saying, hey, if you're new to Montessori, or if you want to know our prices, click here. And it is the link to your lead magnet. And the closer you can make the content of the lead magnet be compatible or relevant to the content of the article, the more you win, the more leads you will get, and leverage your content pieces. Because as people, and you can do the same thing, as people read this stuff, they're going to be interested. The more they scroll, the more they read, the more they learn, the more they're interested. They're pre-qualifying themselves as they scroll down the page and read all this stuff. So drop in your calls to action right within your content. And you can do so through call out boxes like I just mentioned, or you can actually put links in here. Like you can put a call out saying, hey, let's say you had another article or a lead magnet around the 3-period lesson and what it is. And I'm just spitballing here, I'm making this up, but you could say the 3-period lesson. What if that was a hyperlink? When clicked on, it went to a lead magnet about a paper about what all the 3-period lesson is all about, right? And it's gated content. You can get leads right through your content. That is Content Marketing 101. And then you can follow up with those leads through those autoresponders that we mentioned, build that nurture sequence, the know, like, and trust. Boom, all of a sudden you have more enrollment. It's that easy, guys. So use your content as lead generating techniques. I would also encourage you, and we'll get there. I haven't forgotten about you, Vicky. So I think you're the one who, oh, I'm sorry, Teresa, you offered up your website. I haven't forgotten about you, Teresa. We're going to get there in a second. But use all these concepts to your own sites, guys, as well. This is all kind of applicable across the board. So I love the fact that you have a blog in the first place, Heidi. Use your content as lead generators. Also, see all this white space here in the side margin? You can put margin blocks or call outs, call to action boxes in the margin of every single blog article you have across all your content, so they stay the same. And that's where all your lead magnets should be, all your offers should be. Download my pricing here. So not only do you drop it, the relevant lead magnet, into the content, right? That's call to action. Put it on the side here and say, hey, download our pricing menu here. Download our white paper here. Learn about our 3-lesson period here. Boom, 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 boom. All these things, right? And it follows you as you scroll down. Because people will navigate to these pages, and if there's no call to action, then you guys are missing out. All right? Does that make sense? Heidi, any questions about that before I move on to Teresa's? And Qasim, I'll let you monitor the chat box here as I was going through that.
Yeah, Heidi's saying I have to give credit to Bergamo. We modeled our redesign on their site, which is Bergamo's the website from our founders. So
Perfect.
that's worth going to our members.
Awesome. Great, Heidi. You say thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Hopefully that was of some value to you. Let's look at Teresa's. We have, all right, Ellington Montessori School. Okay. Now, similar here, when we have, okay, you got a blog here too, which is awesome. So everything that I just mentioned about Heidi's applies to you too, if you don't have those things in presence. Look at everything you have above the fold. You got your where you are and your phone number. That's fantastic. To make this even a little more punchier, I would add before the phone number, call us at, or call us : right? That is a call to action. People, again, from a marketing perspective, it's boggles my mind. It's amazing how much we have to hold people by the hand and lead little breadcrumb trails for them to follow. So just the fact that your number is there often isn't enough. But literally, by the marketing brain in our psychology, in our own brains, by putting the words call us, that is, it becomes a call to action now. Just your number sitting there, it's not a call to action. So call to actions, or CTAs as they're known, are so important that you want to sprinkle them in everywhere you can. And that's an easy fix on how to do that. Okay, the other thing that applies here is everything above the fold, right? This is called, again, I call it in the online world, real estate. Look at the online real estate of this website, everything above the fold, it's taken up by a big image, which it's a pretty enough picture, fair enough, but there's no calls to action, right? Even just doing call us becomes a call to action. No call to action, no lead magnets above the fold, right? So that was the number one thing, number one takeaway. If you guys take nothing else away from this, get a lead magnet above the fold on your homepage. Teresa, you don't have one right now. I would encourage you highly to get one, and you can decrease the size of this picture, right? And open up some space. The other thing I would encourage you guys to do is put your main differentiator of your school. What is your biggest competitive advantage? What's your biggest raison d'etre, your reason for being that sets you ahead of everyone else? Shout that from the rooftops on your homepage. What's your value proposition? What's your differentiator? Because literally your homepage and your website is so important that when people land on it, you only have 3 seconds before they bounce. Bouncing means they're going to leave. So you have to capture their interest to hang around within that 3-second period after they glance at this. Otherwise, you'll lose them. And right now, I suspect, Teresa, I don't know what your website stats are, but I suspect you're losing a lot of people here because you don't have a compelling message up front. You have a picture instead. Replace that with a compelling message as to why they should stay. What is your value proposition? Right? You start to get into it with this headline: an authentic Montessori experience, education for life. That's okay. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here or anything. I kind of call a spade, but it's a little wah-wah. How is this different from any other Montessori school out there, right? What is your value proposition? This could be literally copy and pasted onto any other Montessori school site. What makes yours different? That's what you want to put up here on this space, with a strong call to action, like download our tuition rates, that kind of thing. So that's my initial impressions over here. Let's take and I'm going to scroll down and then we'll take a quick look at your blog. You have what makes us different down here. I would encourage you to bring that up top, right? You do, okay, you got some accreditation, you got some first aid training, you're owner operated. I'm going to ask you, and because I'm not in the industry, I don't know, this may truly make you different. But do other schools offer these same things? And if they are, it doesn't really make you different. I would encourage you to really think about what truly is your differentiator in the marketplace, right? Music together, farm explorers. Okay, that's a good one. Sign language. I don't know if other schools offer that kind of stuff. Schedule a tour, same thing, exact same thing as Heidi. Look at this. Heidi, where's our call to action? It's boom, contact us. Same thing, right at the bottom. And people have to scroll all that way in order to find it. Bring this stuff at the top. Join our newsletter. Please, please, please change this. Back to, I believe it was Heidi's comments. Who wants more email in their inbox? Please raise their hand. That's what you're saying. When you say join our newsletter, join now, you're saying put more spam in my inbox. Not that your stuff is spam, Teresa, but by saying that, I encourage you to rephrase this to be more of a value proposition. Why would they want to join, right? Join our community of other Montessorians or something like that. And again, just make this up quickly, but when you say join our newsletter, this isn't a lead magnet. This isn't a value proposition. It's let's see, and if I click this, I'm imagining it's a contact form or gated content to join your list. It is, right? Notice, okay, I'm gonna diverge here a little bit because of what I see. First of all, the Ellington crawler, first time I hear that. There is something out there called add scent, as in smell. Whatever you put on the page or the call to action previous should look and feel or smell like the previous page from whence you came. Here I have all of a sudden this blue. This look and feel, it feels like I'm in a different place. The crawler, the first time I'm hearing that. This, and it's obviously done by MailChimp, but if I go back, it is good that it opened up in a new window, sort of, but it's a drastically look and feel. Look, even the logo is different, right? These are called favicons, these little things. This is the MailChimp favicon, okay? You want to customize that to be your tree for Ellington Montessori, so it's the same look and feel, right? And make this Ellington Montessori instead of the Ellington crawler. If you want to reference the crawler, put that in here. Become a crawler, join our community. Already that has more appeal than join our newsletter, right? When we click join now, this should have the same look and feel. You have the same green, it looks like, is your main colors here that you use. This feels drastically different, feels like I'm not in the same place, which decreases trust. So people will bounce. They will not fill out this form just because it doesn't feel like they're in the right place, because it's dissimilar, so dissimilar for this. So that's a little marketing 101 for you in terms of ad scent. And ad scent, if you have like a Google ad or a Facebook ad, the headline of the ad, the image of the ad, when they click on it, it should, wherever they end up on the landing page, should be the same headline, same image. So it looks, feels, smells the same. That is true ad scent. I use that term and apply it here, even though this isn't really an ad, but it is a call to action, which is what we have in our ads. Hopefully all that makes sense and wasn't too confusing. Was that good? Everyone, any questions about that, or Qasim, any feedback on that?
I thought it was great. I appreciate you doing the hot seat, Dave. Here, I have a question for you just in terms of working. Oh, Teresa came back and said, yes, such great feedback. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not pissing you off or being too harsh on you. Sorry. Like I say, I tend to call a spade, but I'm trying to add the most value in the short amount of time that we have. Okay, and I just wanted to, how are we doing for time? We still good for time, guys? I know we're a little over, or how long do these usually run, Qasim?
They usually run an hour. I think we can go over. If somebody needs to drop off, the recording's always available in our members area. That's where most people tend to engage. I do, before we close up though, Dave, I want to give you a moment to just talk about how somebody could work with you.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
If a school wanted to work with Dave and hire you and you know, have you help them craft their narrative, what's the best way to approach that?
Best way to approach that. Thank you so much for asking. And before I do, I see your blog is coming soon, so I would encourage you to get on that with all the other points that I discussed earlier, Teresa. So, and what this does, to be honest, I would remove this blog item entirely until it's there, because when someone goes here, it kind of looks unprofessional or unfinished and doesn't build the trust. This actually builds distrust, like you don't have your stuff together, right? You don't have your ducks in a row. You want to give a good first impression that you have your ducks in a row. I would just take this blog item off the menu here until it's ready, until you have some posts to show. Back to working with me. What I'd like to offer, and I understand people are kind of pressed for time. The way you can work with me, let's see if I can call it up here. Do I have it? No. I'm going to offer you right in the chat box, if you guys go to marketing.com, which is my company, /free. I just typed that in the chat box. If you guys click on that, which I will, it'll open up this page here. And I want to give you some free training because there are, we only have limited time. So it's going to come to this page. This is Ryan, one of Qasim and I's mentor. He's CEO and founder of a company called Digital Marketer, which Cosmo and I are both part of. It's a $100 million company. He says some nice words about me there. But here, I want to offer you guys this if you have to go soon. And it's free training on everything digital marketing, goes into a lot more detail than we can go on here. But the way you can work with me to answer Qasim's question is there's like, I want to customize this to you guys. And this is I have to practice what I preach. This is giving you value in advance, right? But in case you haven't noticed, I'm really passionate about helping people. I really believe in this stuff. This isn't just a strategy or a tactic. This is like heartfelt. I want to offer you this, guys, because I want you guys to succeed, because I know the value in the world that you provide. Does that make sense? And when you click on that, it asks a couple of quick questions to customize the experience to you guys. You tell me a little more about what you guys are trying to do. And at the end of it, it'll give you an opportunity to reach out and work with me, book something in my calendar. Truth be told, I would encourage you to go through this process anyway, because this goes through a survey question. This is my qualification process. Full transparency. You can do the same thing in your own Montessori schools by qualifying people right on your web form through a process like this. Ask some simple questions. How old are your kids? See if they're a good fit. See what kind of income levels they are. See whether they can even afford your schools or not before you even schedule a tour and waste time, right? So this is my filtering system, if you will. But go through it to see how it works, and through the automation, how it's set up, and you'll get the training in addition to that. So that's how you can reach out and work with me, get something on my calendar if we're a right fit together, and that's me. There we go. Notice I also use this hook up a friend. This is a referral system too. This is a landing page too, by the way, guys. There's only a couple things to do here. There's no navigation. You can't navigate away from it unless you just close it out outright, right? Hook up a friend. If you like what you see, hey, I'm asking you to offer this out. We got sharing buttons out there, right? Stay in touch. If you guys got a Facebook page for your schools, make sure these are all calls to action, right? And continue, that goes to the same form. Look at back to the button colors, right? Notice the call to action button is bright and it really pops compared to the rest of the page. This is all blue, right? But that button, it's the brightest thing on the page when you get there. And it's nice and big and bold. So a couple things in working in practice there. So that is, and here's another way, just stay in touch. Go to my Facebook page. If I click on this, or if you go to the site and click on, then you can follow me there. That's another way we can stay in touch, guys. And if it goes, it's just facebook.com/Dave Albano, which is my last name, and we can go from there. And there we go. And there's me on Mount Aconcagua. That's the highest point I was referencing that story earlier, Qasim. That is me on that peak at 23,000 feet. We said that for those of you who missed it, we had a little preamble before the call and the live version started. I was telling some tales about my mountaineering exploits.
If I ever had a picture like that, I would need Photoshop. I'm not hiding.
And I don't filter anything. That's, you can see it. There's glaciers down below here. But anyway, that's, if you go to that link, that's how you can get a chance to work with me and get in with my scheduler and get some free goodies to boot.
That's awesome. And to our live attendees, any other questions for Dave? And while y'all are typing in the box, I think, Dave, do you want to talk briefly? We're going to do another call based solely around a marketing method that Dave teaches really well. Some people call it the CVJ. Dave, you've got your own thing, right? What's your narrative? If you don't mind?
So because of these kinds of things that I do in adventuring, I call this process the client adventure roadmap. For you guys, your clients are the parents who are enrolling their kids in your schools, right? They are clients to you, right? So the client adventure roadmap, let's put this into context. Let me call something up here. I'm going to switch screens and stop that share. I'm going to call up something else here.
While you're doing that, Heidi was saying, this is terrific. Thank you so much. Vicky,
awesome. Love it.
Helpful and informative. Thank you. Thank you both for coming.
Seconds as I pull this up.
No problem.
And there we go. And I'm just going to go into slideshow view. Okay. Can you guys see that? It's a blank screen that says Client Adventure Roadmap.
Yep.
Great. I want to tell you where this whole discussion around the website fits in your overarching digital marketing online presence strategy. That's what the Client Adventure Roadmap is. And I want you to think of it as literally taking your clients on an adventure. Yes, I'm an adventurer, but I imbue that right into my business. And I do this with my own clients, and I encourage my clients to do that with their clients because I work B2B, a lot of B2B businesses. And when you take your clients or your parents that are enrolling their kids on an adventure, who doesn't want to go on an adventure? You make it fun and exciting for them. You can actually reverse engineer excitement into what you offer as an educational experience. Okay. Next time, how you just saying next time, I'd love to hear Dave's thoughts on website and Donnie Miller's story brand. Love Don Miller stuff. Great. Can I make the website more like a journey? Absolutely. This is based off of the customer value journey. It's one and the same. I call it the Client Adventure Roadmap because I like the analogy of adventures and taking clients on an adventure. It's a journey. A journey is another. Think of The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. What was it called? The Hobbit was an unexpected journey. Journeys are adventures. One and the same, right? So where does your website fit in the context of this journey or this roadmap I'm about to show you? So this is a crash course that I'll do. Happy to do a deeper dive. I think, Cosmo, we're going to do a second training specifically on this, but this is a bit of a teaser for you guys for the next training we're going to do. I'll do a deeper dive into this roadmap or this journey, but I want to show you where your website fits into the context of this roadmap. Cool?
Sounds good.
All right, so the very first thing, the very first phase of this roadmap is awareness. How do people become aware of you? And when they become aware of you, how do they engage with you? These two steps is exactly where your website fits in. We talked about content marketing and engagement, but before they can even read your content, they have to be aware of you and get to your website. So your website is so important that it sits at the confluence of awareness on one hand and engagement on the other. Because once they become aware of you, what are they going to do? They're going to check you out online, check your online presence, typically through your website, and engage with you. But they can only do that if you give them the mechanisms with which to engage with you through lead magnets, through content, through online forums, all these things that we've already discussed, right? Once they engage with you, and this is building the know, like, and trust, guys. And on the next training that I offered to do for the COSM around this, I'll do, like I say, a deeper dive in this. And this is scientifically proven to work based on how we've evolved as humans and how we evolve our natural relationships with each other. And I'll go through all of that, not here, but next time. But the next piece is the subscribe stage. Once they're aware with you, once they've engaged with you, the subscribe stage is the lead magnet. The subscribe stage is getting their contact information so you can then follow up with them by virtue of them giving you that contact information and becoming a lead. Does that make sense so far, guys?
Yep.
Awesome. Once they subscribe, then how do you convert them into a customer or into an initial transaction? For you guys at the convert phase, they follow up with you or they reach out to you through your contact form. A conversion in your guys' case, I think the best conversion you guys could possibly have at this stage is a school tour, because the conversion is a low ticket item or a low investment of time or money. It's a low investment of time for high value because they're trying to figure out the best school for their kids, but it's a worthy investment for them to take. It's free for them to take a school tour. That's where you want to convert them. Okay, so you want to get their contact information first and follow up them continuously to build that know, like, and trust until they take a school tour. Okay, that would be something you could offer at the convert stage, trying to convert them into a school tour. Then they have to be excited. This is one of the biggest and most misunderstood things in business and in schools or whatever you're offering to the marketplace. How do we get them excited about our product or service offering more so than anything else out there on the table. And we can bake that experience in. You can actually reverse engineer excitement into your service offering, into the tour experience, for example, above and beyond anything that anyone else is offering to build that know, like, and trust. If they're excited enough, only then will they move forward to ascend. Ascension is where your core offer resides. In this case, your core offer is enrollment. You ultimately want them to enroll and get them to pay tuition, right? So you convert them at the tour stage. They're so excited enough that they ascend and enroll into your core offer. And then there's a feedback mechanism here too. They should be excited. Once they enroll, your educational experience that you guys provide as Montessorians should be so exciting, so beneficial to your students, and that can be baked into and reverse engineered, all kinds of tactics and strategies to do that, such that the parents, even the kids themselves and the parents, become advocates of the school. And an advocate, think of an advocate as a passive, it's a more of a passive approach, where if you reach out to them, they would gladly give you a testimonial about their school. They would gladly refer you to someone else, but only if you ask them. That's why it's passive. When you get to the promoter stage, that's an active approach. These are the people who are shouting your schools from the rooftops. They're automatically giving you referrals. This is where you can encourage them and even build in experiences or systems so that people are encouraged to actively promote you. And there's all kinds of ways, shapes, and forms we can do that for your schools. That is the client adventure roadmap at a high level nutshell version, if you will. It's 8 phases. And you can see there's a lot to it. There's deep dives at every single level. Awareness and engagement is, we just touched on a very high level in terms of your website and where that maps onto this journey.
That was amazing, Dave. I appreciate you sharing that. And I can't wait for that call. I think that's going to be really valuable for all of our members.
Awesome. Would that be of value to you guys if I did a deeper dive into these 8 phases of the client adventure roadmap? Just type it in the chat. Would that be of value? Yes, yes, yes. Cool. Awesome. All right. Beautiful. We will endeavor to make that happen. Then I'll coordinate with Qasim to do so. Just scrolling through the chat. See, did we miss anything or any other questions or comments that we need to address here, Qasim?
I've been watching it, and I don't think so.
All right, cool. Like to see, well, Heidi says, I'd like to see how the website itself can be structured as a journey. Absolutely. It's, to be honest, it's the front end of the journey. All of this, a lot of this here is behind the scenes, Heidi, because, for example, the website can offer to schedule a tour, but the tour itself is where your real meat and potatoes is, right? And encourages them to enroll. But you can totally structure your site as a journey for sure, including all the automations that I mentioned, including pre-qualifying them to see if they can even afford your schools, those kinds of things. And that's all part of the journey, which can be automated and baked in right into the website. Cool, sounds good, awesome. All right, any other questions or comments that I might be able to assist with? If not, then...
I have a question, Dave. How did you just get so awesome?
Oh, stop. You flatter me, sir. Now you're making me blush.
I really appreciate you doing this, man. This was a big deal for us, so thank you.
My absolute pleasure. Like I said, I love to give value. I love being a tour guide and adventuring myself, and this is an online, a quick tour of online marketing strategy. So happy to oblige. I love building people up. I love, in general, just raising the rising tide lifts all ships, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all in this together. I do believe we're all connected. I do believe we have higher purposes and higher values to provide. I chose business to provide that in my life. I've designed my life that way. I think I can reach a lot more people exponentially that way instead of working one-on-one, because if I'm working one-on-one with you guys as school or education providers or businesses, you have the tentacles to reach out and expand to so many more people that I can't touch. So if I can help you improve, you are literally improving the lives of children, the lives of their parents, and the lives of our future leaders. So I'm so grateful for you guys for stepping up and doing what you guys do as Montessorians.
That sounds good.
I'll turn it over to you and let us take this home for us.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled to all of our members for an email. We're going to do a special session just with Dave going over the Client Adventure Roadmap. If you're watching us live on Facebook, remember you can always join directly here and you can ask questions the way you saw people asking questions. You also saw that we have some giveaways if you show up live, and you get to do hot seats, which is really fun. Just go to nidomarketing.com/coaching, nidomarketing.com/coaching. We do this every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we're talking about websites still, but we're going to go after specific implementation. So what Dave did is a great overview of website paradigm. Next week, we're going to get granular. So we're going to start checking boxes. We've got a guide that you can find on our website. I'll link to it in this video too. It's the 16 must-haves of every Montessori website. Dave hit on a lot of them already, which is great. So can't wait to see you next week. And everybody, thank you so much for showing up. Dave, thanks so much for being here. Parting word?
One more thing. More thing. When I do this next session, not only is it a deeper dive, much deeper dive into each one of these phases, I'm going to do a complete evaluation of your schools and how it shows up as a business and see if you check all the boxes. It'll be a complete evaluation of where you are now, what gaps you might have, and what to fill those gaps with. So it's going to be a workshop component too. It's not just going to be me talking at you. I want it to be a conversation, and you'll actually have a note. I'm going to ask you to get out a notebook and piece of paper, or just do it online in an online notebook and actually score yourself and rank yourself in a certain way for a proprietary system, scoring system, and evaluation that I did so you can score your schools.
That's awesome. That's so exciting. Dave, once again, sir, thank you so much for being here. Truly grateful to you.
My pleasure, as always, sir.